and shoot. I'm shot in the upper left-hand arm by a friend of mine. I'm not sure exactly when I first came up with the idea. I mean, first of all, you saw a lot of people being shot on TV every night in Vietnam, guys my age.
I got drafted, but I never went to Vietnam. Lots of guys around me were going. I became a marksman, we all became marksmen, but guns I didn't relate to guns and I didn't relate to shooting, and it was something that I had to do going through that process. And then I got out of the Army and used my GI Bill to go back to school and went to Irvine.
A bunch of us started this place called F-Space, which was just an industrial space. It was just a couple doors down from my studio.
All of us, I think, initially were doing painting and making sculpture and playing with material objects, and he was a little further over in a different direction. We were all real curious what he was doing, where he was coming from.
I knew I couldn't go down to the local gun store and ask, hey, is there a gun instructor, who'd like to come and do an art performance where you kind of nick my arm? I knew that wouldn't go over. So you had to ask somebody who was a friend and who was willing to do it and liked your art. Otherwise you weren't going to get anywhere.
Chris came to me and said he's thinking of doing a piece where he gets shot. And would I be the shooter? Would I be willing to work with him on it? And I liked the challenge and the idea of shooting someone for art and doing the best job I could.
The bullet would whiz by my arm and it would scratch it, and one drop of blood would roll down my forearm. That was the ideal. Yeah, he stood about 15 feet away from me. He asked if I was ready. I kind of stiffened up, stuck my left arm out a little so he'd have something to shoot at.
He got shot. He looked and everything looked okay, and we all went, well, okay, that worked.
And it turned out to be a flesh wound. He went in and out of my arm with a .22 bullet. Just like hitting a corner of a tractor trailer on a freeway. Your arm just got nicked by a giant force, it just goes numb.
But then as he walked toward us, he began to get a little wobbly. So we all just kind of waited, Chris, you okay? And we wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to pass out, or we didn't have to call an ambulance, or he wasn't going to bleed to death.
And, I don't think they believed me for a moment. They probably thought my wife had shot me and I wasn't pressing charges, and it was in another city.
I enjoyed the piece. I appreciated the significance of it even then. I always felt it was a very valid piece and an important thing that we did.
I think a lot of those performance works were an attempt to control fate or something, or giving you the illusion that you can control fate.